What is going on, you beautiful people? Today we are going to be tidying up a bunch of things on the 240. Pretty much the entire hot side of the engine is leaking everywhere. There are exhaust leaks, there are oil leaks, there are coolant leaks, and everything is just kind of dirty because of it. So today pretty much we're going to be removing everything here. And resealing, remounting everything. I kind of just half-assed put this all together just to get it running, which it does, but this is one of the only seals on this side of the engine that is good. Exhaust leak here, exhaust leak, massive exhaust leak for that part of the wastegate. The other end of this oil line is leaking, the oil return is leaking, the oil return to the block is leaking, the oil filter sleeve thing that goes to the block, that's leaking. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around, we're going to make a bunch of gaskets for everything. I ordered some gasket material, exhaust, and then I have some aluminum cans which you can use for exhaust leaks usually. Pretty cheap, not a super permanent method, but it's really easy and should work just fine. So we're gonna give that all a try. Let's start taking everything apart. Everything here just kind of has to come off, and we're gonna start wiping everything down, getting it cleaned, and then resealing the whole turbo side. So one of my biggest grievances with this entire setup that I wish I had, I mean, there was no way of me knowing before I installed it. These studs are just a little bit too long. So ideally I would be able to pull off the turbo. There is a huge fucking truck rolling up my street. So as I was saying, ideally I would be able to pull off the turbo and the exhaust manifold and everything, like the wastegate, all in one go. But the problem is when I go to take off the exhaust manifold bolts from the studs, I pull this off and the wastegate hits the wall right here. You can see I've dented it a couple, or scratched it up a couple times. And the reason is that these front studs are just a little bit too long, which is a little bit annoying. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to cut them as short as I can get them. So I'll probably take about 1/4 inch off. And then I should be able to remove this entire setup up and out of the car. And the other thing that makes much more convenient for me is tightening down the wastegate bolts, because I was saying those were really close to the wall, so it's really hard to tighten down all of these bolts which go to the wastegate, which is why I was having problems with the gasket. I just wasn't tightening them down hard enough because there was no room to fit a tool in the engine bay. So what I'm going to do, measure those studs, get them cut, and then remove that exhaust manifold, and then we can fully seal, get everything done outside of the car, and then hopefully just plop it all back in one big piece. This was my first time making a custom downpipe and wastegate setup, or anything of the sort for that matter, so all these little clearance issues and minor things like that are just good things to learn, because next time if I ever end up doing this on another car, which I don't see myself not doing that in the future, I now know to watch out for clearances like that. So it's fine for now. We're gonna make the fixes, we're gonna get it done straight, but definitely something, check all your clearances before you do any kind of custom fabrication for wastegate or exhaust stuff. Seems like something that's common sense and I should have done beforehand. So I was looking at the big issue wastegate seal, and I remembered that from the turbo kit there was this little like metal gasket that I completely forgot to put in when I initially installed it. So I think the reason I had an exhaust leak period was because of this little guy right here. So now that I have that in, I'm gonna clamp that down really tight, and I think we should be good there. I can't believe I missed that piece, but that was super simple for that one. So after that last clip, I pretty much just ended up sliding this entire part that we've been working on back in the car. It's all sealed. I've driven it a couple times. No exhaust leaks. Everything's holding up. If you see any like blue, I had a coolant leak recently, which is going to be a separate video that I film later, so don't worry about that. Psych! But it's way better. So there are no more exhaust leaks on the flange, no more exhaust leaks here. The wastegate's on, doing all good wastegate things that we want wastegates to do. No more oil leaks for the oil feed. Yeah, that's pretty much going to be a wrap for today's video. Kind of a short one, and it's just kind of some basic maintenance. So I appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Leave a comment, especially subscribe. So taking over the world with the Volvo. Another video wrapped up. Appreciate you watching. Peace.